you're a perfect example of that, Tom, because you were a teacher, you went into the music industry, you understand the tension. That's what music is. It's attention.
So I built a whole framework around this, and I call it like 4D consulting. And this is what I used to run and still doing with like our guys. And I built out this whole method because I wanted to kind of get it out on paper. And what I called was basically it's like a Venn diagram, and it's like brand, vision, method. So it's called the brand vision method. And then the fourth aspect, outside of it is time. So each of these increase over time. What you basically want to do, and you spoke about attract to brand here, and it's all inner game work. That's the vision aspect. You have to have a vision for yourself, and it has to be clear that you're working towards that vision for yourself. And that's what creates increase, and that's what creates momentum, and that's what creates attraction. That's what draws people to you. If you read the book, Wallace D. Wattles' Science of Getting Rich, that's one of the key things he says. You have to convey a sense of increase with whatever you're doing. Does that mean your body's getting better? Does that mean like your money's going up? Your whatever it is, a sense of increase, and you can practice that every day. Every interaction you can have, you can go, how can I add a sense of increase? How can I make this person's life better? How can I kind of expand? You could do it when you order a coffee, and you practice doing that with every single interaction. And that's what gives you a vision, and vision gives you a forward momentum. Vision plus a brand, that's what creates attraction. If you have a brand and you have a vision, you now have people who are attracted to you. But the last element of that is method. So you have to have a method that is proven that it works. And when you have brand with a method, that's when you have influence. And then when you have vision with method, that's when you have a business. Okay.
Literally.
Because it's forward momentum, taking someone from A to B. But all of those things obviously compound over time. So that really helped me. I love a Venn diagram. I know Kamala Harris had a whole meme about that, being like, I love Venn diagrams, man, but I do. But that, I used to run that with all of my clients, and it's so good because whenever you are talking about a subject, and everyone should do this for whatever their offer is, you should get it into your pillars and work out how they kind of interchange and have some sort of method. But whenever you're talking about something, you're like, right, guys, where does this fit into? And people are like, right, this is in the vision. So people now know, and right in the center of all of the Venn diagram is their dream outcome, right? Yeah. So they now know that, okay, I'm working on my vision, I'm working on some inner game stuff, which is just like, maybe even just go into the gym. I know that this is actually moving me towards my dream outcome. And then whenever you're explaining something to your members, they can clearly see how, because look, people buy on emotion, but you need to constantly resell them. And like remind them like why they're doing this, and then how a bit of advice that you've given, why does that move them towards that dream outcome? So I call it like 4D consulting. So it's like the 3 pillars, and then it's like all of those expand over time. The second thing I was going to add, and I'll tell a story of when I was in education. I used to have, be called sir, which I quite liked as well, but that's gone now.
No wonder your missus calls you that.
Yeah, no, but they. But I went to like Poundland or something, and I bought these little hats, and these little caps, they said like, I am the best, or like super cool, or something just nerdy as hell. But what I used to do is I used to have those hats in the cupboard, and you've got a big community now. What you want to do is, so like, I'll give context. If there's 30 kids in a classroom, you've got an hour, that means you have about 2 minutes per kid. What effect can you have on a kid in 2 minutes, really? And there's always a few who need more attention. Like always. So what you want to do is you want to find the Rockstar clients or the Rockstar kids, the ones who just get it, the ones who've nailed it. Cupboard would come out, hey, here's a hat. And the hat was like, I'm the best, like I'm the whatever. And then you put the hat on them and like, right, your job, you're the only ones who are allowed to move around the classroom. You're like now, whatever I used to call them. You can move around, you can help people, and they love it. So you want to leverage Rockstar clients, ones who are getting the results. You want to then make them generals, make them community leaders. Maybe they get an extra one-on-one call with you. And then the other thing with that to make that work is you have to have clear expectations and boundaries, and you have to be consistent with your expectations and boundaries. So for example, I was a super anal teacher. I was a super, like...
Love it.
I was, yeah, that's why I had to leave. But basically, so I was in like, because I did like media, did some music stuff. Basically, all the kids had wheelie chairs in my classroom because it was like there's computer desks, and by law, if you're on a computer, you have to meet certain standards. So if you're on a computer, you have to be able to swivel and you have to be able to move your chair. So by law, we have to put in swivelly chairs. The problem with teenagers and swivelly chairs is they're like, fucking race cars, great. And they're kicking each other over. So what I did my first day in that classroom, I got some duct tape and I like outlined all around where the chairs were. And I was like, I set my expectations. When every kid walked in, I was like, nobody is ever allowed to move their chairs behind this line. And I was so consistent with it, like so consistent. And like, it was the only time I would get like pretend angry. So all of the kids would stay in one place. All the other classrooms, like they're kicking all over the place. But then when I added in that Rockstar element thing, then the kids were like, I get to kind of break the rules. I get to move around the classroom. So it made it worthwhile for them. One, they got the hats, and then also like they got to move around. So with you there, with kind of moving forward, you want to restrict access to yourself. You want to give the Rockstar clients more kind of influence and they are like closer to you. But when people come into your program, you want to set clear expectations. I will answer questions on the weekly call.
Yeah.
Prepare your questions beforehand. That's what the weekly calls are for. If people can just get hold of you through WhatsApp, you have to and explain it to them. Hey, look, there's 100 people in here. If I'm replying to, let's say, even half of that every other day, I'm be honest with you, you're not going to get good advice. And there might be someone else who has the same question.
Exactly. That's the main thing that I drill into everyone is that
Channeling.
Yeah,
Channeling
please
back.
do not ask me the same questions over and over again. All questions now. So this is a big thing that we've changed is my community's on Circle. So now we're moving everything from the WhatsApp because problem is if someone new joins and they get added to the WhatsApp, they can't see the previous messages.
Yeah.
So now everything as of Monday is going on Circle. So any questions, any wins, anything is on Circle and it stays there forever. And whenever someone joins, I'll send them a message saying, basically, please read this thread, this thread, and this thread so that all the most common asked questions are answered. You don't need to ask me them time and time again. And also on Circle, it tracks everything that everyone does. And everyone's aware of this, but this then gamifies it. So people can get rewards based on engagement, based on content posted, based on anything that they do within the community. Circle rewards them. And then we have leaderboards and everything. So we can keep track of what everyone's doing. I can see when people last signed in. I can see if someone hasn't signed in for a week. I can see everything. And
you like a leaderboard is leadership at the end of the day, which is what you're alluding to, right? So you set the standard for who you are, your vision, what you want, but those guys are also leaders within there. And I've gone really deep down that leadership role because like it's important, right? Because you're leading a community of 110 people. So when you set that standard as an onboarding form, do you have course material, course content?
Yeah, they get my full course in there.
So today there should be a new course. You know, it's updated.
Yeah.
But they should be going through that because like that's what we're doing. We're bringing people through a process. And now that we've moved from cohort into open coaching, you still need to go through it, right? And unless you're done for you client because we're actually physically doing it. But that content means that like you're thinking through our lens. I'll give you an example. Podcasts, you can do different things. You can do different ways. We are video first, YouTube first podcasts, 100%. And by virtue of that, you have to think through this lens of video first, YouTube first podcasting. It's just what I believe in. And by doing the program, by going through everything, you're not only like learning what I'm thinking, but you're also going on this wavelength. So you're not asking dumb questions about shit that we don't care about. Okay? And as time goes on, when people ask you more questions, you can create content in here, on Loom, with a microphone. Like that's what I'm doing half the time. And you add that to the program. So our program now is way bigger than it was intentionally because I was trying to what I basically was doing in the beginning was I get on a call with someone because there's a high ticket. I'm like, what are you struggling with? They'd say this, this, this. I'd write it down. They'd say, is it in the program? I'm like, yep, because I can create it. I can solve that for you. So people are on this journey. Now, what you've done really well, what people like Hamza have done really well, is they're putting people on a transformation, saying you're here, broke, lazy, fat. Over here, you're going to have an individual business. That's actually harder for us because we have some people coming in who are CEOs. Some guys are 19 years old. They're still entrepreneurs, but it's a different transformation. So it's almost like, what are the levers that you pull? So what we're pulling is like you build a content business, generates revenue, grows your authority, builds your network without wasting time, money, and energy.